All right. It is Tuesday, and we are here for another episode of Accelerating Your Journey. This is actually episode number 71. This is a consciousness ascending presentation. My name is Benny Ferguson. I channel the non physical collective known as Abraham, and we're excited to be here. We're excited to be of support on this platform, not just to be of support, but to accelerate the process for those of you who know you are on a journey of enlightenment, for those of you who know you are exploring and coming more and more into your creative potential. We're thankful for each of you who are supporting us with your presence in the creation of this interaction through your energies. We're thankful for those of you who have found this recording and allowed us to be of support in that manner. If you have found this recording, be sure to listen all the way to the end, for there is a question and answer period at the end that we utilize through the chat that is arguably the most powerful part of these sessions is turning into be. If you find value, be sure to subscribe. Check the description for ways that you can further connect with us, deeper connect with us, become a part of the community, so that you're alerted of and aware of our happenings off this platform. We offer private sessions for those of you who are feeling stuck, for those of you who have private matters that you would like to resolve, get headway on. We are offering a jump start for 2026 for those of you who would like our support in getting clear on your highest intention and looking to release the resistance, the greatest resistance to that intention. If you are inspired to that, just send us an email. Our email address is in the About section of this profile. Send us an email that you're inspired to do that, and we will begin the process on that. Also, we offer a private community, the Ascension Accelerator, an incubator, if you will, for those who are aspiring to be powerful conscious creators, where you will find everything that is necessary in order to accelerate the process of your growth and expansion, accelerate your ability to create a powerful level of consistency in the expanding of your awareness, releasing of resistance, inner conflict to your intentions, realizing your creative ability and how your expressions are being reflected back to you, beginning to understand why things that seem insignificant can be reflected very, very quickly, and those that you have things that you have been striving to create in your life for months, years, have yet to materialize. It's time to understand why that is. The Ascension Accelerator is possibly the highest potential that you can find. But again, we're excited to be here. We're excited to be of support on this platform. We're excited for each of you. So, today's topic is the mirror is high definition. The mirror is high definition. The magic happens when you begin to be. The mirror is high definition. The magic happens when you begin to be. Conscious creators. You are creating. You have an inner creative process. Your inner creative process has creative faculties which work together in the creation of experience through your expressing. You are expressing first and foremost, constantly, all the time. You have been since you were incarnated on your plane of existence. And your expressions go before you as you express in every present moment, yielding experience that appears with perfect timing. How and why is the question. How and why is the question. The how and why lies in your beingness. It lies in who you are being. Who you are being is synonymous with your expressing. And yes, the mirror is high definition. That which you are expressing consistently, is that which is reflected back to you. Because you are a creator and you cannot help that. You cannot stop that. Each of you are a perfect piece and parcel of source at the center, at the core of all of creation. Not just your plane of existence, but all planes of existence. Not just your species, but all species, including the animals on your plane, including all species of extraterrestrial alien that you've ever heard of. Source is at the center of all of their expressions on their planes of existence, on the frequencies that they exist in and on. Source is at the center. It is you. You are it. So there's no stopping your ability. You've been doing it all along. There's only understanding of that which you are doing. There's only understanding the inner creative process. There's only understanding your capacity to create. That's all there is. That's what you're doing now. That's what you're doing now for those of you who are open to these transmissions and have realized that they're on this journey of enlightenment. All that you are doing now is working your way backwards. And that starts with understanding that on your plane of existence now you're creating. It starts there. Because the more you unravel the inner creative process, the more that you unravel your potential, the more that you unravel your ability to express vibrationally, express consciously and intentionally in a high frequency, the more you unravel and release all that conflicts with your intentions, you are revealing your truth in source. You are working your way backwards per se, but you're not really working your way backwards because you are all that is right now. You are just realizing it more and more as you begin to entertain and express higher frequency, which is closer and takes you closer and closer to your truth and source. And the more you release the conflict that exists within you, the resistance that exists within you, that allows you to be and remain consistent in a higher frequency with a greater level of consistency. The more you play and practice with those things, doing these things, the more you realize who and what you truly are. And the more you realize your potential and capacity on the plane of existence that you're aware that you are existing in at this moment. But the magic happens when you decide to be. Everything is hinged upon you deciding to be. Now, that means to set an intention. And you've been doing it all along, you just haven't realized the process at play. When you decided you wanted to go to college, if you have been to college or if you've been to any higher level of education that you chose to go to, when you made that decision to go through that process, to go through that structure, to graduate, to finish, to achieve the certificate or the diploma, and so that you can move beyond it. When you made that decision, you set an intention. And when you set that intention, it had a requirement of you. It had a requirement of you becoming the person who successfully completed that intention, who successfully completed the program or the process. That was your requirement. And you knew that. You knew you had to take the classes. You knew you had to be in attendance. You knew you had to make well enough marks or grades to progress through from one area or section to the next and the next and the next until you achieve completion. You knew you had to do that. And so with that intention, you had requirements of you to become. That was a part of it, and you knew that. And many of you, most of you, started. You moved through the program or the process, and you successfully completed it. Your intention had the requirement of you becoming the person who successfully completed the program. And you had your eyes on that. Or maybe you didn't have your eyes on that. Most when they start college, they already know what it looks like at the end. They see themselves walking across the stage, receiving the diploma, receiving the certificate of completion, walking off the stage, smiling, all of the things. You've seen it before. You know what it's going to look like for you. You've seen it in your mind, and you have that idea. But it requires that you become that. That's the process. When you establish an intention for yourself, for your life, for your relationship, as a parent, in your job or career, in your business, it comes with the requirement that you become the person who is successful at the thing. In your life, you have been doing this all along. In those type areas. It's funny how, especially with school, work, jobs, that type thing, you know when you come in, you need to learn, grow, and develop in order to be that which is successful at the thing. A sport, you know you have to learn how to dribble and shoot and all those things to become better, a better player, a more successful player at basketball or whatever the sport is. But when it comes to relationships, nobody sees it as the same. When it comes to your finances, you don't equate and see it as the same. But it is the same. You want to have a certain type of experience. You have the intention, but the magic happens when you decide to be. And you have to be that which has successfully created the experience. And the more you strive to be that person, you are moving through the process. You begin to be pulled through the growth process, the same as you move through the growth process when you go to school. The same as you move through the growth process when you decide to be better at a sport. Or you start a job or position that you have that's new to you, and you know that you have to learn and you have to grow in order to become more and more successful at that thing. Have an intention, decide to be, begin to be in your imagination that which has already become successful, that which has already been successful at the thing, and allow that to pull you through the growth and expansion that is required. Now let's look at it from this perspective. Whenever you started something new, whether it was school or whatever, there was uncertainty, there was doubt, you had concerns possibly. But they weren't big enough to stifle you and cause you to hesitate and not to engage. Right? Maybe you had a model of people who had already been successful and you knew they were no different from you. You have a model of people who have established businesses and you know that they're no better than you, so you just need to do the things and go through the process. Maybe you have a model. Individuals who don't have models, sometimes the idea is so big that it causes them to hesitate or causes them to sabotage themselves because they can't clearly see themselves on the other side. But notice what happens when you get to the other side. When you graduated, when you became proficient and competent at the job or career, when you achieved a level of success at the sport as a result of your practice and your discipline. Now you're able to look back at the growth and expansion that occurred, whether it was easy or difficult or challenging or not. And you say, yeah, but I did it. And now you have gotten to the point where it's not a thing. It's not an issue. Not only is it not an issue, you can coach somebody else through the process. That which was foreign to you at first, that which carried a huge level of uncertainty. Now you're in position to where the next person that comes along, you're able to coach them through the challenges, the possible pitfalls, the successes that they're going to find because you worked your way through the process. Your intention pulled you through to the becoming of the person who is successful or was successful at the thing. Have an intention. Use your inner being to establish who you are in the picture that has already been successful at the thing. Identify their thoughts, identify their dominant ideas. All of this is in the vibrational expression. And when you identify these things and you situate yourself in that vibrational expression, that state of being, you've done everything now that will, you've established a foundation now that will pull you through the process. The growth and expansion process, the process of becoming. And we used all of those examples of your life experience to position the understanding that it's the exact same thing for your spiritual development, as you call it. Your vibrational elevation, as you call it. You can ask your inner being in your meditation to take you to the truth of you in source. And the truth of you, in the truth of you in source, you will find that everything that you have ever intended is present now, in this present moment. You will find that your fears, that your doubts, that your worries do not exist in the truth of you in source. Because source, God, whatever you want to call it, does not entertain fear. Fear is the result of the separation in energy, in frequency, from the source core of all beingness, of all existence. And in low vibration, that's where fear begins to come in. The faster, the higher the frequency, the higher the energy that you're in, the less fear. Higher perspective. Less fear, less insecurity. The further you get away from the source, the lower the vibration, the more the fear. So, in your meditation, you can ask your inner being to take you to the truth of you in source. And you can begin to entertain the feeling of that state, the feeling of that position that is the truth of you, right? It's not being put into you. You're being taken to a place, reminded of a place that is already you. And the more time you spend there, this is the same as quantum jumping, if you're familiar with Burt Goldman and that idea. The more time you spend there in that feeling, establishing that as a foundation for your intending to be the highest, the most excellent, the most brilliant version of yourself, which is the truth of you in source. That's where you are freely offering your highest authenticity, your highest uniqueness. You are most clear. You are offering a high frequency, perceiving life from the highest frequency perspective, interpreting life's circumstances from the highest frequency as the truth of you in source, free of fear. The more you entertain that idea and play and practice in that foundational, fundamental state, it will begin to pull you through the process of growth and expansion necessary to be that. Because you have conditioning, you have resistance you have been programmed to along the way on your life's journey in this iteration of life. But the truth of you in source does not entertain these ideas. And so you're able to see the contrast. You're able to quickly see, this is not truth. I know what truth feels like. I know the dominant ideas of source that are my true foundational, fundamental, dominant ideas. This that I am believing in that is manifesting as a fear or insecurity within my body is not the truth. Playing in that area gives you the contrast, which has already achieved. That's actually the point. That's actually the point. The becoming in between is the point. Now, the thing we want you to understand is that your becoming doesn't have to be painful. As you are beginning to be more and more consistent in the expression of higher frequency, the less you are plagued with trauma and drama born of low vibration. Most of you now are striving to climb out of that level of vibration in which there are traumas or trauma that has occurred, in which there are dramas that are appearing around you in your experience. The higher you go in your frequency expression and the more consistent you are at offering that, the less these low vibrational ideas, happenings, feelings are a part of your being. And you begin to less and less move from pain and frustration into success and better feeling experiences, to moving from peak to peak, because you have climbed out of the valleys. You have achieved a level of, we'll say, success. You understand that. And then you establish a next bar. A next bar that requires you to become more. Because it requires you to become more expansive. It requires you to grow a little bit more. And then you establish a next bar and a next. And you're growing from peak to peak versus from valley and trying to climb out of a low vibrational position. This is where each of you are going as you walk physically on your plane of existence. But it's a matter of setting your intention. It's a matter of understanding that you can begin to be that in the present moment. It's a matter of understanding that the process of becoming is the point of your whole existence. That's what causes the growth, and that's what is the growth and expansion. In the becoming, as you understand it, is the establishing of the vibration, is the entertaining of the higher level thoughts that person thinks as a result of having become and accomplished the intention. The releasing of the fear that once was standing between you and that intention. That's the becoming. And that's the point of your beingness, of your existence now. If you're following your highest inspiration without hesitation, and you're moving powerfully through life, following your inspiration, knowing that which is highest for you to express at the moment, whether it's music or art or whatever it is that you are inspired to, and you're breathing those things into the world, the next and the next and the next for you is always going to be in alignment with that, and it's going to be in alignment with the plan that you set for yourself before you entered into your physical body. That's what your inspirations are. Your inspirations are born of that plan that you set for yourself. Many are even unable to follow that plan because of their conditioning and because of fear and because of insecurity, which is a result from the conditioning. But the more you walk this path, the more you release hesitation and release fear, the more you entertain higher frequency, the more pronounced your inspirations will become. And the more pronounced your inspirations become, and the more you are able to act on those inspirations, the more you will begin to see the path that is laid for you, that you laid for yourself. And it may be to be the most excellent teacher. It may be to be an excellent business person. Whatever it is, you will see and find yourself being that in the highest that you can express. And that will be the most highest and the most powerful thing for you. Lastly, what you will find as evidence of your play and practice of this process, of these activities, is the reflection in the mirror. The reflection in the mirror is of the highest definition. It is perfect. It is precise, whether you want to own that or not, whether you want to believe that or not, whether it makes you uncomfortable or not. The reflection in the mirror is of the highest definition. It is constantly being reflected back to you, that which you are expressing vibrationally. We have mentioned this before. Play with building a foundation of understanding that the energies, the frequencies, the colors, the tones that you are offering in this moment go before you. And they lace your experience. If you become consistent at just feeling good, if you become consistent at just offering a high level frequency state, you will begin to see in your experience that you come in contact with that level of frequency through the people that you encounter, irregardless of their shape or their size or their color or their background. None of that matters in frequency. None of that matters in energy. None of that matters in vibration. For you, as a center of your verse, you will begin to come in contact with the most perfect reflection of the frequency that you are offering with consistency. In the people, in the events, in the things. Because the mirror of experience is perfect. It is constantly reflecting you, your expression, with perfect timing. You have expressed either precisely the idea that you have come in contact with, or you have expressed the feeling that the experience is inspiring you to, that the experience is triggering you to. If you are feeling loved, you have offered love. The key that you're growing into is offering love to yourself. But as a creator, if your child made you feel loved, then you in that moment were offering love, and therefore you will come in contact with love as an experience laced with love, because you offered the expression. But you offered the expression in reaction to an external source, and that's the problem. As long as external sources are causing you to react, you're not in control. You have relinquished your power to the effects of creation. When you begin to realize that you are creating, you begin to zero in on your expressing. You begin to zero in on being more conscious, more intentional in your expressing, and looking, observing for the reflection in the mirror as proof of your expressing, as proof that you are creating. This is what we want for you. To less and less be in reaction to experience, to more and more be one who is building the muscle of awareness, expanded awareness, that I have chosen to offer this with consistency, and now I am seeing how it's being reflected in the mirror of my experience. This is what we want for you, because this is the building of your power. This is the establishing of a firm foundation on which you will walk through your life experience powerfully and beautifully at peace, all at the same time. But it starts with awareness. It starts with understanding. Then it starts with building a foundation. It starts with proving all of these things to yourself. Not believing in anything, but proving these things to yourself. It starts with understanding that the higher the frequency you are offering, that there are higher frequency truths and ideas on that frequency, that if you hold that frequency with a level of consistency, they will eventually be released to you, thus firmly establishing you in that frequency. But that only happens as a result of being consistent. It doesn't happen when you're flip-flopping back and forth, low and high, which is the norm. I was excited at the movie and I went home and I was frustrated with my partner. As long as you're on the flip-flop, you're not going to be consistent enough for higher frequency truths to be revealed to you. Not revealed as in if anything is holding them from you, but revealed as in you have been in alignment with it long enough for the information to make its way into your being. The same as you have to be in alignment with the understanding of how to fix something in your home. If you intend to do it yourself, you have to be in alignment with the fixing of the thing long enough for the information to make its way to you and for it to make sense in order for you to go about the action of repairing. If you're in alignment with it and then you're out of alignment with it, you're doubting, you're fearful, or you just change the idea, you decide not to do it, then you cut off the energy, you cut off the flow, and the information that was making its way to you, it stops. Consistency, focus on a higher frequency plane is what eventually allows the information to make its way into your being. But if you're flip-flopping, it can't make it to you because you're constantly starting and stopping from a vibrational standpoint. Establish the foundation, set your intention, establish yourself in the being of that which has already created the experience. Understand that the becoming, the growth and expansion in between those 2 points is the whole point of your existence, the growth and expansion process. Understand that that's the process with any and every intention that you have, whether it's new job or career or beautiful relationship, wealth and abundance, or greater wealth and abundance, greater success in your business, greater understanding and of yourself as the truth of you in source from the position you are now to that process is the same. Understand that you can begin to realize your creative power by just watching your vibrational expression and noticing how that expressing that feeling begins to be reflected to you in the mirror of experience. Not a specific thing you're trying to create, but just watching the feeling of the experiences based on your consistency, this building the foundation. Why? Because it is not a hypothetical that you are creating. It's the truth. It's not a hypothetical that which you are offering vibrationally goes before you. It's the truth. It's not a hypothetical that the mirror of experience is high definition, is perfect to that which you are offering, whether you are aware of what you're offering or not. It's the truth. That's why this is important, especially for those of you aspiring to be powerful conscious creators now in your experience, desiring to know the truth of you in source and to live from that space versus realizing the truth of you in source after you make your transition. That's why this is important. Again, thank you. For those of you who have participated in the creation of this interaction, thank you. For those of you who have held on, that have found this recording and allowed us to be of support in that manner. If you have been inspired to an idea, or if you have any questions, we'll take a few moments on those. Please place them in the chat. Yes, hello everyone. Hello everyone. Fantastic. 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 So, we love you very much. We're excited for each of you. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with a different topic, powerful topic, striving to not just be of support, but to accelerate the process for you and with you. Again, we're thankful for each of you who have supported us in the creation of this experience. We love you very, 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 very much, and we will talk to you soon.